Wow. Well, standing here or sitting here is not one of those things I thought I would, but I think it's necessary. I'd want to share part of my story in my SLE Lupus journey. It's been an 8-year journey, but I only came to know about it a few months ago. As we are recording this is November, so I came to know about it in July. So about 4 or 5 months back. Ever since, it's been quite a number of changes in my lifestyle and how I handle things. You're never prepared to that day when you're told, from today, you cannot walk around with a short-sleeved dress because you have to reduce exposure to the sun. You have to have sunscreen full-time, and not just sunscreen. I actually did not know that there's a difference in the ranges of the sunscreen lotions. So apparently there's something called an SPF, sun protection factor, that I have to be on one that has 50 SPF and above. Yeah, part of the lifestyle changes is the cost of such things. It's quite expensive to manage SLE. So the changes that I've experienced so far, people who know me know I used to take my salon time as a way to reconnect with myself, and now I no longer can make my nails because apparently the extreme UV during the manicure sessions, you are not able to do that anymore. So ideally you have to not go to those salon visits anymore unless you're going to do your hair or something else. It started by me being told to move offices. Where I work, everyone loves a window seat because I work next to the golf course. So of course the view would help you even reflect sometimes, and we all strive towards working with a corner office that has a window that has a view. So I had to move there because apparently that was one of my biggest triggers. I've worked in that institution for about 5 years or so. And apparently that is when I started having flare-ups, and I did not know about it, but it's because I was directly on the path of the sunlight. So where I was sitting, I would get direct UV injections, for lack of a better word, and my body will continue reacting without my knowledge. Another lifestyle change is the cost of medication, and I would want to use this as an appeal to the government of Kenya. There's no reprieve being given to patients who are having SLE in Kenya right now, yet it's quite an expensive sickness. So ideally, I have to do repeat tests every 3 months. It cost me about 160K to just go through the tests. That was a 1-day admission and I leave hospital. My drugs, on a weekly basis, I use around 12,000 shillings, and SHIF, SHA, whatever it's called, does not cater for any of those. So it's really hard when you're working in a government that you feel are really oppressing you in terms of getting a lot of deductions, but yet the money that you're paying for does not come back in terms of helping you when you want the medication or you want to visit the hospital or go through the medical sessions. But this is just part of the changes that I've had to undergo in terms of my lifestyle. I don't walk on the sun without a cape anymore. I don't walk without being fully covered from the neck downwards, and really I'm trying to adjust to all this. But how did I get to know that I had SLE? I've had quite a number of flare-ups, but my biggest marker was I had skin issues that would look like I needed to see a dermatologist. So I tried some. I've seen about 6 specialists, all giving me different medications, but finally I got to have a referral to one lady. For purposes of this video, she's a very good dermatologist, and I want to really recognize her efforts in terms of helping me even get to know what I'm dealing with. She's called Dr. Saini. She's a dermatologist based in Nairobi. So ideally, we ran several tests with her, which included a skin biopsy that, thank God, it turned negative, but we still were not able to pick what exactly we were dealing with. We had several medical terms called, someone called it Lynchen planners. So that is what we were treating for some time. Then later on, we realized with the medication, it's like it was starting to affect my organs in a way. My lips turned black. It's like I was burning up. The body, I started darkening, and we realized there could be a deeper problem, and we stopped the medication at that particular time. Then she recommended one test. This test is called ANA. I did not know all these terms. I started knowing them during this journey process. So once I did the ANA test, the results came back. And when I got the results, I didn't know how to interpret this. But the doctor who ordered the test, for some reason, she was out of the country, and she sent her assistant. So her assistant called me in a panic. She couldn't find me on phone, and she dropped me a voice message. And the voice message read, "You have to see a rheumatologist immediately." And I'm like, who is a rheumatologist? I don't know who that is. I've never heard of any doctor under that category. Yeah, for at that time, I just assumed that probably it's just one of those referrals that I keep getting. One doctor pushes me to the next, and I was like, oh, okay, now this doctor is pushing me to the next one. So I shared the report with two people, my husband and my mother. My mom happens to be a nutritionist, so somehow she's able to decode some of these things. And when she saw the results, she was like, wow, surprised. And the second thing she asked me is, are you an atomic bomb? Sounds crazy, but that is exactly what she said. And I was like, why are you saying that? So she tried to bring it with some sort of humor. But basically what she was telling me is that your body is fighting itself and those levels are too high. Again, I don't want to go to the details because I might not be really best versed with how to interpret these results. But I believe we'll get further clarity on the same even as we keep researching about this thing. So she also told me, go and see the rheumatologist and see them immediately. And I'm like, okay. Kwani, how bad is this thing? At that point, I was still not alarmed in any way. I booked a session with a rheumatologist in Nairobi. When she saw my results, she moved the session up. Like I had a two-week window period, but then she called me in immediately. And that put me in a panic. So when I saw her, she told me she does not know how I'm working with those kind of results because most of her patients who have that kind of result are admitted in hospital. And yet I was seeing her from work. I was coming from work, not alarmed, still in my usual clothing, the short-sleeved clothing. Someone who's coming from work definitely is not really overdressed. So the first thing is she told me is, your nails look nice. And I was like, thank you. I'm thinking it's a compliment. But she's telling me now, that is the last time you actually had to do that. And I'm like, okay, what is this doctor trying to insinuate? So ideally, she tried to walk me through it. I tried to pass the message to my husband, who again was not alarmed like I wasn't until I ensured that he had a session with me together with that doctor so that he can also understand exactly what we are dealing with. Because until then, even we did not start with medication immediately. We were just relaxed, thinking it's something that will go away. So in terms of the issues that led to this, aside from the skin, I was really swollen for about 2 years period. You see me at 7 a.m. and you meet me at 2 p.m. I looked like two very different people. In the morning, I was really swollen. You'd have a problem to even see where my eyes are because they're like covered with the swelling around the face, around the arms. In the evening, all the swelling would go down and it would be the legs. Even my shoes would not fit. At some point, my feet felt like it was double the size. So we really didn't understand. We were doing tests. Everything seems normal because the test would check the vital organs, the kidneys, the lungs, the heart. And you're told, you're okay. So that had been the journey within the 7-year period. So after that, then we felt like this doctor probably is not telling us the whole truth. So we felt like she's not managing us as we should. So we went to see a second one. And the second one was even worse because the first thing he told me is, I'm sorry, if you want to get children, from now henceforth, we are not able to promise anything like that. And I'm like, why? Because of the medications that he's about to put me on. And apparently, if I was supposed to be getting any pregnancies, they would not be able to survive that kind of medication. So good thing we were done with getting babies. I am a mother of 4, 3 that are okay, and 1 is deceased. So I started recounting back, and he took me through these sessions, and he made me realize even the tough pregnancies that I had been through. So it was the body that was actually fighting these pregnancies as a foreign object. So there was a preterm here, there was another child who was born, actually 2 preterms, and 1 was born okay, but also had complications. I remember at some point COVID came, it really hit me, and I had to get admission. I was one of those statistics that we were being given because we had to be locked and put aside. A very depressing season, I must say, but ideally, I'm trying to summarize it, but this has been my life for the last 8 years, in and out of hospital, swelling. Some people actually thought my husband is battering me because I looked like a battered wife, but he looked so loving, and they're wondering, are you living double lives? Because at some point I had black eyes. Thank God for the mask. I used to wear a mask to work and outside work because when I remove it, you would wonder, who is this? My lips, my eyes, everything was puffed up. So I thank God, as painful as it is, we are here now, but I thank God that we will finally have gotten to a place where we can say we know what we are dealing with. Expensive, yes. Lifestyle changes, yes. Stressful at times, yes. But now we know what we are dealing with. And when you know what you're dealing with, it's easier to manage that because you're able to avoid the triggers. Number 1 trigger being the stress factor. I work in a very high pressure environment, and I didn't know this was a trigger. So probably that's why it flared up all of a sudden, and I started seeing the drastic changes. But now I'm able to know how to manage my, this thing we're told, excuse me, that cough is one of those things that when I start coughing, I know, Steph, it's time to take a leave. It starts with the cough. Next, I lose my voice. At some point, I am not able to talk. Then it gets to the ears. At some point, they block fully and you're not able to hear. But the only medicine for that, I was told, is rest. So I just take I take time off from everything, from my socials, from everything, and take a break. So when I do that, 3-4 days, I'm able to be back up and I can be able to continue. So the stress, again, high pressure environments are not very good. It's important to know when to take a break. I usually monitor that with that cough that just happened and my skin. When I'm well rested, my skin looks perfect, I glow, but immediately I start having flare-ups because I've been overstretched. I will start itching, I will start seeing some of those skin lesions removing pus. Again, the only medicine is rest. I don't have any other medication for like the skin issues or the cough. I take a break and I'm good. Right now, I'm taking quite a number of medications. Apparently, another problem with our country, we are not very well advanced in terms of medication. So I have to combine medications for nerves, medications for pressure. Like there's a medication that will suppress my immunity, and there's another one that will try to balance it. Because when it's suppressed too much, like I've had episodes of a flu that really almost took me out. Like literally, I had to get admitted for a week. I have to get all these immunizations because I was being told by the doctor, there's one of the patients, they almost lost that patient just because of a flu. It took her to ICU. There's another one who went mad because she was not able to stop. When faced with high pressure environments, like it could be work, it could be family, it could be whatever, she was not able to stop and she lost it. Again, she was just given some time off to rest and switch off from everything, and she's now okay. I believe it has also affected my social life. I used to be that person who would be everywhere that anyone needed me, but of late I try to, am I able to go through this or not? If I can't, I simply say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. Some would take it negatively, like you're withdrawn, like you really don't care anymore, which is okay by me. Some would take it positively. Those that understand my journey would really understand what I'm going through. And I believe this is why we are supposed to actually bring out this message of SLE. People should know more about it and how to support people who have it around them. Basic duties, like sometimes I'm not even able to cook ugali because my hand is just stiff. I'm not able to do basic home stuff. Like it could be, I'm a woman, I'm a wife. People would expect me to clean the home, to wash the clothes, to, just be active around the home. There are things I'm not able to do. And sometimes when I stretch myself too much and do it, I end up having to deal with the repercussions. At some point, I had to learn how to use my left hand because the right hand stopped working. Basically, it just became stiff and painful. When I say you're working with high pressure environments, remember I had to report to work with that left hand and work. Stories for another day, but yes, I'm here, I made it, I'm able to now manage with the medication. I was talking about where our country right now is not very advanced in terms of medication because they are yet to recognize how serious and heavy SLE is to the patients who are going through it. So you have to mix a lot of medicines to be able to manage the symptoms and everything happening. But I was being told, like in the Western world, you can get a shot that can sustain you for like 6 months and you're good to go. God help me, if I'm able to get that, I would be able to really go for it because I take about 5 medicines in the morning, 3 midday, and another 6 at night. So I believe there's a lot to be done in terms of creating awareness for SLE and also knowing how to support the patients with it because people know about cancer, they know about diabetes, hypertension. But when you tell them you're having lupus, they're like, you look okay. And most people will not think you're sick until you actually tell them, by the way, I'm going through such a thing. And we really need to get more information and spread the message out there because there are people who are also losing their lives because they don't know that they have lupus. Because if I did not get to this point now, probably I wouldn't have been here, who knows? Sorry, I'm getting a bit, yeah, but I think it's expected. So say I fell, let me use myself as an example. Someone will say, probably she had a heart attack, or she was just not able to wake up in the morning, and all those possible reasons. But bottom line, she was battling with SLE, but she didn't know. So it's important that we we do this as part of the regular checks. I know we are told about how to check for some diseases. I think we also need to know how to identify some markers of maybe you having SLE and probably have more rheumatologists in the country. I tried looking at Nakuru because Nakuru is my hometown. There's none in Nakuru. There's literally none. If I have an emergency right now, I either have to go to Nairobi Hospital or AAR or Aga Khan or Kenyatta. And we all know about KMH. It's you're not sure whether you'll get admission or not. So really, when you don't have the money, where do you go to? It's also important to note that I think someone who's gone through the experience like me tried to pass this bill through Parliament, and it's now being recognized as a disability because it is. Person going through severe SLE Lupus is considered as person who's I think let's use the word abled differently, because they understand that tasks you cannot do and those that you can do. So it's important to also tell people that you can be able to get such a certificate because it can be able to help you access some services that you otherwise will not access it. But yeah, that's where we are today, and that is my story. I hope it brings a difference to one or two or many lives. The purpose of actually doing this is to bring awareness about this disease and to say when it's managed, it's fine. But if it's not managed, it can take you down. It will affect any of your major organs, and you don't know how you'll be able to handle that. I will refer that to the medics to tell us about the repercussions of such untreated SLE cases. But ideally, let's get tested. Let's create awareness to women because it's affecting women more than men. Let's really create this awareness. Let's go down to the grassroots level. People who do not have access to medical care, they need to know about this and be told how to manage this particular disease. Basically, I just hope whoever listens to this will be touched in a way and see how you can support people who are living with this particular disease. Thank you.